And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, my futures trading family. It's time for a surprise market reflection, Thursday, April the 13th. Our good friends Dan and Jack were unable to do the podcast today. Dan's voice is still under the weather, so they asked me if I could fill in with a reflection. I'm always willing to do that. I hope you had a good trading day. Well, we see these equities really pushing to the upside today. Just an amazing day. A couple of things we're going to see in the charts that we've noticed over the past couple of weeks that we've kind of taken care of with this pop to the upside. The S&P is closing up unofficially 51 points, 1.25%. The NASDAQ up 252, up 1.9%. The NASDAQ really doing a good job of recovering, closing higher anyway. The NASDAQ really led the way. The Dow up 372, 1.1%. Crude oil was down today, finishing the day at 82.16. That's down to $1.10 or 1.32%. Investors have really dug into some decent PPI numbers this morning, and okay CPI numbers indicating that at the very least that inflation is slowing down. And with that information, investors maybe starting to place bets that the Fed may not raise interest rates at the beginning of May, and they may not be wrong. Who knows? Still lots of time between now and then. We've got earnings season starting tomorrow. We're starting with United Health, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, Citigroup, and PNC, among others, tomorrow morning. So a lot of the focus is going to be on earnings over the next couple of weeks. We got to remember to keep an eye on those, and we'll be discussing those every morning on the Market Prep. I hope you had a good trading day. I know it was a challenging one, and you weren't probably expecting to see me this afternoon, but I'm always happy to be here with everybody. And as always, I do ask that you hit the lucky like button. Share, comment, question, feedback, heckling, and love are always welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get notified when we do go live. See a couple of you here saying good afternoon. Vince, good afternoon. Jimmy, good to see everybody. Today is Thursday. The buyers were just relentless today. Once we started to kind of pick a direction, everybody bought into it. I hope you didn't try and fight it. I was tempted to fight it many times today, but I did take my hand off the mouse and say, how many times have I said we cannot fight directional markets, and now I'm going to fight a directional market. I thought if there was one chance of getting a short in this move, it would have been after 2:30, and it really didn't account for much. If you did even get good trade location on shorts, wasn't really worth it. JT, hey, good to see you. Brett, good to see you. On your way home from the post office now. Good. Well, it was a good work day. Found it. Fought it and lost, Julian. Yeah, when the market is as one time framed as it was today, the only thing it seems to do, because it's very difficult to try and buy it, the only thing to do is to sell it, and it's the wrong thing to do on days like today. And we know that now in hindsight, but there were a couple of things that were left up here that the market was probably going to come and recheck. And that is those recent highs that occurred in the overnight session. Anissa, if you see this, here they are. Here's those overnight sessions. Let's take a look through the charts here. I'm going to start with crude oil, and then we'll get to the equities pretty quickly here. Let's take a look. So here's crude coming off that high a little bit, $83, 83.05 weekly kickoff high, proving to be a little bit too expensive for it, at least for the session today. So there it is, the daily chart, 30-minute. Kind of stuck to it for quite a while in the overnight session as well as the regular trading hour session. But when we couldn't take out the overnight high or the high from yesterday, there was really only one thing left to do, and that was to take the shorts. So we ended up bringing price lower, actually closing about 110 ticks lower. So a little bit of rejection of higher pricing there. Here's what it looked like on the TPO chart. Unable to take out the high, unable to take out the overnight high. One thing left to do. Boy, it really just kind of finished the range just inside both ends of the overnight session. I don't know if I've seen that much. All right, now to the equities. Yes. Edward, is that good enough, right? Here's the daily chart. We do have probably a close just above that weekly kickoff high of 41.70, maybe right on it. I don't know what it settled at exactly as the exchange says, but there it is, upper extreme of balance. So wow, what a day! I mean, we looked at a short in make-hog money above the overnight high, but once that got taken out, it was all buyers for the rest of the day. I mean, this thing one time framed higher from here on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight 30-minute periods, 4 hours of one time framing higher. It's very hard to buy into something like that. You feel like you're always going to just buy the high and that's going to be it. By the time I get in, it's going to be over. But what you don't want to do is start to fight it. There were a couple of opportunities for possible shorts here. The value high and the high of yesterday's regular trading hour range would have been a reasonable one. But again, one that you can limit risk. What about 41.70? Is that a reasonable area for us to look for a short? Probably. But again, it allows us the opportunity to limit risk. But once we got up above there, I was looking for an opportunity to look for a short for a deeper pullback than we were given. I never did anything. So here we are. It looks like we've closed above 41.70. I think this is actually a little bit off here. 41.70. That's about right there. So we have to see what happens tomorrow. We have more information due tomorrow. Lots more data to come out. So here's what we're talking about. Anissa was asking last week, but what about the recent high in the overnight session? And I said, well, Anissa, the market's heading the other direction, but when the market heads back higher, that's when these are going to come into play. Now, we did it again. We put in a higher overnight. What the heck? This is the... This is the new chart, not the legacy chart, and I don't like it. I'm going to have to go back to the regular one. There we go. So this, day before yesterday, was the overnight high. This was the CPI stab to the upside. We got within just a few ticks of it. But is that close enough? I'm thinking yes, it is. Although we do have that little hook hanging up there. I don't think that's going to last very long if we truly accept above that 41.70 level. But again, a lot of that's going to depend on the economic data tomorrow. Anissa, you are here. Look at that. So we did it. Here's that first one. We did that. 2 days ago. Put up another recent high in the overnight. There we are testing it now. So here's the profile. This is going to be ugly. Opening range, open auction, look to the downside. No. We start rallying, we start higher lows, we push higher. We get to this ledge yesterday. A reasonable possible opportunity to look for a short. We ran the stops up against the high from yesterday. Another reasonable opportunity for a short. But again, we don't have to lose much there. Once that gets taken out, I'm pretty sure that we were going to be looking forward to that overnight high that just was hanging out there. Recent overnight highs, all-time overnight highs, rarely are left for very long. And now, well, look, we're left with a weak high, an unfinished upside auction. I'm so excited about this because everybody's 401ks are going to start to look a lot better if we can keep this up. Oh, good afternoon, George, Edward. Yeah, but I think that's pretty much close to good enough. And I'm glad you're here, Anissa. What about the NASDAQ? Well, the NASDAQ was presenting a lot weaker. It came back off the lows of balance and now back in balance. S&Ps looks like they're ready to break out above balance, but we'll find that out tomorrow. What kind of open interest change do you think we're going to see in these markets tomorrow? Here it is. Pretty sure the opening range was the low of the session in the NASDAQ. When that happens, I'm looking for longs, and sometimes in all the wrong places. But here we go. Here's that recent overnight high. Didn't quite get to it here. We still have this recent overnight high that we took care of in the S&Ps the other day. This is the one that we should be targeting, last week's high. Not quite there, but a good up day for the NASDAQ. Profile. Opening range the low, in range, leaving range, leaving value, continuing to the upside, double, triple distribution trend day, unfinished upside auction, somewhat at the high. What about gold? What did gold do today? Test of weekly kickoff high, got through it by about $3.50. That's pretty deep in the zone, wouldn't you say? But coming back from that, coming back below that level, maybe there was opportunity for shorts. I'm not sure. I wasn't watching gold that closely today, but here it is. One stop, another stop, one close above, one stab above that. Once we came back inside or below that 2060 level, maybe there was some opportunity there. These were not trades I've taken. These are just assumptions. Tough trading day all around, especially, if you're not in a trend that's underway already, it's so difficult to get into them. It's one of the banes of my existence is to try and get into a directional market in the day time frame that's already underway. If I'm in them and I see them coming, I'm good. But trying to get into them is a pickle, if you will. We've got weekly kickoff high in the euro as well. Here's the 30. God, it's almost the same market. It looks just like gold. I mean, we had a couple of stops there. One close, one rejection, another rejection, another rejection. I think we're wearing out the sellers up here, and a lot of that, of course, depends on the U.S. dollar. Here's the TPO chart. IB low, P shape, short covering up against an important inflection level. Again, we'll see what the open interest looks like tomorrow morning. And the 10-year holding the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of contact. Rates actually move a little bit higher today. Yes, they did. End of the day, you're 3.4. This morning was 3.4, but it ended up closing 3.446, a little bit higher. Here's the 30. Inside regular trading hour range, no change in value. What's the TPO chart look like? Normal variation. Is this going to be a late spike? It looks like it might be a late spike to the downside. We'll keep an eye on this tomorrow morning, especially as the market is testing this trend line. Tomorrow could be an interesting day in the 10-year. May have to participate in that one. And the natural gas still floundering along the bottom here, testing last week's low after a reversal pattern this week. Last week's low, today's low, B shape. How did we get too long? I don't think that's possible. We got a B shape, we got a B shape. I think we may have some other players in this market. Here's the TPO chart. Double distribution yesterday, B-shaped profile, unfinished downside auction. Yikes. Yikes. How can natural gas get any cheaper? How can natural gas get any cheaper? All right. This day in history, the first nonstop flight from Europe to North America occurred today. Apollo 13's oxygen tank explodes. Houston, we have a problem. That was in 1970, and in 1997, Tiger Woods wins his first Masters tournament. Thomas Jefferson's birthday is today. Handel's Messiah premieres in Dublin in 1742. Wow, it's amazing. 1964 today, Sidney Poitier wins the Best Actor Oscar for Lilies of the Field. And in music, Bill Conti's birthday. He's the one that wrote Gonna Fly Now, the theme from Rocky. Jack Cassidy was a bass player, I think, from Jefferson Airplane and Hot Tuna. Max Weinberg's birthday is today, 1951, the drummer from the E Street Band of Bruce Springsteen, as well as the Max Weinberg 7 on Conan O'Brien. Lou Bega, 1975, Mambo Number 5. Now, who can admit to actually bopping to Mambo Number 5? 1982, David Crosby was arrested when police found him preparing cocaine backstage in his dressing room before a show in Dallas. Naughty. It's going to be about it. All right. Well, we got one more day. Let's make it a good one. Get some good rest tonight. Don't forget to be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Say a prayer for peace. We sure need it in this world. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:45 as usual. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Blessings, and have a good night.